I am 75 years old now. When I look back at my life, I don't see years, I see moments. I see a young girl in a simple dress, nervous on her wedding day, thinking marriage was a fairy tale that would last forever. Nobody tells you the truth about marriage when you're young. They tell you about love, about weddings, about photos and celebrations. But they don't tell you about the quiet nights, the misunderstandings, the growing pains, and the deep kind of love that only time can build. I got married when I was just 22. I thought love meant never fighting, never disagreeing, always feeling butterflies. I was wrong. Love is not butterflies. Love is choosing the same person again and again, even on the days you don't feel like it. The first few years of marriage were beautiful, but also confusing. Two strangers trying to build one life. I had my habits, he had his. I liked silence, he liked noise. I wanted to talk about feelings. He wanted to fix problems quietly. We didn't understand each other, but we stayed. And that is something young people don't hear enough today. Marriage is not about finding the perfect person. It's about learning how to stay with an imperfect one. There were nights I cried silently so he wouldn't hear me. There were days he sat outside just to cool his anger. We hurt each other sometimes without meaning to. Words can be sharp when emotions are high, but every morning we still had breakfast together, and somehow that mattered more than the arguments. You see, marriage is not built in the big moments. It's built in the small ones. Making tea for each other. Asking, "Did you eat?" Sitting in the same room, doing different things but feeling safe because the other person is there. We didn't always say, "I love you." Our generation wasn't raised that way. But love showed itself in different forms. He would fix things around the house without being asked. I would save the best piece of food for him. That was our language of love. There were hard years too. Financial struggles, illness, times when we barely spoke because life was too heavy. But those were the years that made our bond stronger. Pain either breaks a marriage or it deepens it. For us, it deepened it. One thing I learned after decades of marriage is this: your partner is not your enemy. The problem is the enemy. But when you're young, you fight each other instead of fighting the problem together. I wish someone had told me that earlier. I also learned that silence can be more powerful than winning an argument. Many times I wanted to prove I was right, and sometimes I was, but being right didn't bring peace. Understanding did. As we grew older, love changed. It became quieter, softer, deeper. The passion of youth slowly turned into companionship. We didn't need grand gestures anymore. Just sitting together in the evening was enough. People think long marriages are full of constant happiness. That's not true. Long marriages survive because two people decide not to give up on the same day. There were moments when I felt lonely even while being married. That is another truth nobody talks about. Marriage does not automatically remove loneliness. You still have to communicate. You still have to open your heart. Otherwise, two people can sleep in the same bed and still feel miles apart. But when we did talk, really talk, it brought us closer than anything else. I remember one night during a power outage. The house was dark, quiet, and still. We sat by the window and talked for hours about our fears, our dreams, our regrets. After 30 years of marriage, we were still discovering each other. That night reminded me, you never stop learning your partner. If you are young and married, let me tell you something important. Your spouse will change, and so will you. The person you marry at 25 will not be the same at 45 or 65. Marriage only works when you fall in love with each new version of each other. Don't expect your partner to read your mind. Speak gently. Speak honestly. Most marriages don't end because of big betrayals. They slowly fade because of small, unspoken hurts. Forgiveness is oxygen in marriage. Without it, love suffocates. There were things I wish I had forgiven faster. Small mistakes I held onto for too long. Pride steals more happiness from marriages than any outside problem ever could. And appreciation. Oh, how important that is. We often notice what our partner does wrong, but we forget to notice what they do right every single day. A simple thank you can heal more than you think. When my husband grew older, he became softer. Time humbles us. The same man who once argued strongly about everything started asking, "What do you think?" Age teaches us that love matters more than ego. Now, when I sit alone and think about my marriage, I don't remember the fights clearly. I remember the road trips, the shared laughter, the way he looked at me when I entered a room, the comfort of knowing someone in this world knew me completely, my flaws, my fears, my past, and stayed anyway. That is what marriage truly is. It is not a constant feeling of romance. It is a lifelong decision to be each other's home. If your marriage is going through a difficult time right now, don't panic. Storms don't mean the journey is over. Sometimes they are just part of the path. Sit down, talk, listen more than you speak, and remember why you chose each other in the first place. Love is not something you find once. It is something you build every day. At 75, I can tell you this with complete honesty. A good marriage is one of life's greatest blessings. Not because it is easy, but because it teaches you patience, sacrifice, forgiveness, and a deeper kind of love than you ever thought possible. And when the years pass, and the house becomes quiet, and the world slows down, The memories of a life shared with someone become your greatest comfort. So choose kindness over pride. Choose understanding over winning. Choose to stay even on the hard days. Because one day, you will look back like I do now, and you will realize love was never about perfection. It was always about commitment, and that is what makes a marriage last.